and welcome to another edition of your Chamber at Work. We are focusing on 14 communities in the greater Haverhill area. We have 8 in New Hampshire and 6 in Massachusetts, so we cover a wide area. I'm your host, Beverly Donovan. I'm the Chamber of the Greater Haverhill Chamber of Commerce, and I'm excited to introduce you to our guest today. And our first guest this morning is Stephen Rogers from Rogers Spring Hill Garden and Farm Center over in Ward Hill. Welcome.
Good morning.
Nice
Welcome.
to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. So for years I've driven by the farm and I seem to see a lot of different things going on there. What's the history of the farm?
So we started on April 17th, 1902. My great-grandfather moved down from Aroostook County, Maine, and started the farm on 2.5 acres, and it's expanded from there to a couple hundred acres, and we've always been, in the beginning it was kind of a sustainable type farm where you had some cows, some pigs, some chickens, raised vegetables. During the early part of the 20th century, probably most of the money came from vegetables, selling vegetables to stores, like little, I guess I used to have a lot of little corner stores. And
Sure.
we would deliver vegetables to those type of establishments, and then got more into producing milk, more cows, and then there was a problem before World War II of dairies not paying for the milk, and so the federal government got involved, and at that time my grandfather at that time decided to start bottling and delivering our own milk. So we did that and milk cows until 1990 something, and about 1980 we started bottling water, spring water. We have some great water on our farm, and we started bottling spring water, and then the rules changed, in the 90s, where you couldn't bottle water and milk in the same with the same equipment. So we had to make a decision. At that point, we made a decision to just bottle water. We got out of the cows. We bought the old grain coal nursery on Route 125 on the Haverhill North Andover line, and have developed a garden center nursery business there since 1990 or 91. We still farm, still have cows. We don't milk them anymore. We just raise them up until the point where they're going to have their first calf and sell them to dairy farms. And constantly evolving. We sell butternut squash. We raise a lot of butternut squash, sell it to Market Basket as well as at our garden center. Raise pumpkins, strawberries, pick your own strawberries, firewood. So we do a lot of different things, which you have to do in this area of the country to stay viable.
It's really a diverse business, and
It is.
And I noticed recently that you've been working the farmers market, and I've stopped by and purchased some things there, and I saw a few pictures online, some chickens actually in harnesses. So tell me about the chickens.
Yeah. So what's interesting about our business is that with each generation we have to evolve, and what worked for the last generation doesn't necessarily work for this generation. And I have 4 children. My sister Barbara has 2, and most of them express interest in coming back to the farm. Well, in order to do that, they have to earn a living, right? So how do we reinvent what we're doing so that it gives them a future? And started looking into that about a year, 18 months ago, and realized that there's a whole different way of farming than we were farming. And we decided that Hillary and my daughter Michaela and I decided that let's try going to true pasture-raised chickens, eggs, and then at some point we'll do pasture-raised meat birds also, and then go from there to maybe some cows, some pigs or something. But to try it, what we identified was that our food in some ways is hurting our health. Because it's it's made to be cheap and produced cheap, and so every possible cost gets cut to produce our food. Not always the healthiest. A lot different than when we were raised as children, how we used to eat. So identified some of those issues and thought, let's set out to raise the world's best eggs. And so that's the route that we've taken. And it's kind of an interesting thing. We built a mobile chicken coop. It'll hold up to 400 birds. Now it seems like, how can you put 400 birds in there? Well, they're only sleeping in there.
Yeah.
So we have roosts, so they sleep. They should say that. They sleep and they lay their eggs there. Everything else they do outside. And they can eat about 25% of their diet can come from grass and the insects that are there. And the rest is made up of grain. And we move it every 2 or 3 days. So every 2 or 3 days they get fresh, new grass. There's a mixture of about 30 different forbs, perennials, and annual grasses and legumes, which they eat, plus any grasshoppers or other insects that are there. And then the feed part of it, we looked at some of the trends and some of the things that we've determined to be real issues. One of them is organic, and a lot of people have a little misunderstanding on organic, but essentially we went and found a nutritionist, animal nutritionist, that designed a feed for us that met our requirements, what we thought was the highest level of good, honest feed we can give our birds. And then we found a mill that would make this feed for us. Another thing that was crucial to producing this, and which complicated it, was it's soy-free. And soy, you can look it up. There's some issues with soy. It has estrogen. It's phenyl soy has. So that is a concern for people that have had, especially women that have had breast cancer or ovarian cancer. They want to try to eliminate the soy out of their diet as well as possible. So we had to design we wanted to design a feed that was soy-free. Well, that's where all the protein comes from in the chicken grain. It's like 16, 18% protein comes from that's in the layer pellet. The vast majority of that protein comes from the soy. So to replace that is a challenge. So you have to find other ways to replace it. So you replace it with alfalfa, which is a legume. Is probably what gives it the most of the soy back. And then it has to be palatable for the chickens, and it has to accommodate all their minerals and calcium, because they need calcium for their egg development, and to make that complete grain. The problem with it is it's like 4 times as expensive as regular grain, and so maybe it's not for everybody to have these kind of eggs. I mean, I wish that people would say, well, I really want, healthy eggs. And I think when you eat them and you see, you break them open, and they go in the frying pan, or they stay together. They don't run to the edges of the pans. The yolk has a great color to it. The shell, I mean, if you've had pasture-raised eggs versus store, commercially grown eggs, you might say, totally different. And it's very obvious when you eat them.
Just so people know how to find you, or if they have questions for you, why don't you let everybody know how to contact you or look you up on the web? That would be great.
So our website is rogerspringhill.com. We're on Route 125 on the Haverhill north end of the line. On the right-hand side, our phone number is 978-372-4780.
Yeah. And I think I know I love going over there and seeing all the great things that you have.
A lot of flowers and trees and shrubs.
Yeah, you've got that cute little gift shop and all. So
one of the other things, Beverly, that we did that's really different for our eggs is we only give them our own pure spring water.
Oh.
So there's no chlorine, there's no fluoride. I mean, I don't know of any other chicken farms that are feeding spring water to their chickens, but we're trying to make the best, best eggs that you can buy anywhere. So
excellent. I'm going to have to check those out.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming by today, and I look forward to seeing the chicken in the harness. I'm expecting to see that at the farmer's market, and definitely love seeing all the photos online. So thank you so much.
And thank you for inviting me in.
When we come back, we will have Steve Stewart and Jason Petrou to discuss our upcoming golf tournament, Chamber Golf Tournament, which will be on Monday, September 11th. And we're back with our two members of our Chamber Board of Directors. We have Jason Petrou with us today from CEO Beverage, as well as Steve Stewart from Pentucket Bank. And these two gentlemen also happen to be the co-chairs of our golf committee this year. And they're going to talk a little bit about our upcoming 26th Annual Chamber of Commerce Golf Tournament. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And tell me a little bit about the tournament, when it is, and special things that are going on. We'll start with Steve.
So it's on September 11th, which is a Monday. We have a lot of interesting things going on this year. Number one, we're going to, because of the date, we're going to honor first responders. Try to do a special fundraiser during the golf tournament as well to be able to donate to them and hopefully help out with their charities. We've got the air cannon coming again this year, which the golfers tend to like quite a bit. It's just like the t-shirt cannons at the sporting events, only you get to shoot a golf ball at the hole, and makes a par four much shorter than hitting your own driver, so it works out very well. We anticipate probably about 120 golfers again this year, which I think will be great. Usually we'll have some games and some challenges out on the course during the day. There's a goodie bag, which I think everybody loves. You get a $50 gift certificate to Whirlaway, and then a number of gift certificates to some restaurants and some other things in the goodie bag. We anticipate a lot of great silent auction items this year. We've got a ticket package from the University of University of New Hampshire, excuse me. And then we've got the Trinity raffle table, which is always fantastic. They throw some really nice things in there.
Excellent.
And trying to think,
Well, I know we have lots of things planned for each of the holes, and maybe, Jason, you could talk a little bit about some of the things people are going to find along the way that day.
Yeah, sure. There's a bunch of different games, like Steve mentioned, with the air cannon. There'll be different beverage companies around. We've got Newburyport Brewing Company. They'll be doing some sampling there. A lot of great beers to try out. My company, CEO Beverage, it's an organic energy drink company. We'll be doing a hole where you can taste some of the beverages there. So a lot of good things that are interactive, keep the golfers entertained. The tournament is at Haverhill Country Club. In my opinion, it's the premier course around here. The conditions are great. Really fun but challenging course for the golfers. So the venue is fantastic. The staff there is great. So a lot of good things going on.
Excellent. And I know they were also planning on a lunch and a dinner this year. So always nice.
Yeah, the food's always fantastic there. Travis Brown, the head chef at Haverhill, does a fantastic job with the food. So
Sure does.
everyone always leaves there nice and full. So
I can do
So I've heard the words Big Bertha. What the heck is that?
So the Big Bertha is something new. We actually found it in one of the GoFundMes. It's literally, well, I hate to be a college student, but it's a beer funnel that looks like a golf club. And so we will have that out on the golf course this year to add a little excitement, but it should be a lot of fun.
we should probably test it out before, make sure it works.
I was hoping we'd have it for today, so we could show it off.
I would like to see that.
Yeah, so it's literally a golf club with an empty head, and then it's got a tube that goes down for the golf shaft, and it should be interesting to watch. The videos are interesting.
Yeah.
Use the air cannon before you do that.
Yes, absolutely. That's one of the deals. Yes.
So lots of fun. That's the message.
Absolutely.
Lots of fun,
Absolutely.
and like you said, raising money for our first responders, which is going to be a great thing. There's also going to be a hole-in-one challenge this year for a car.
There is. Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, we're very lucky. Jafarian will be sponsoring that, so it'll be a beautiful car, and we anticipate hopefully somebody will win that this year. That would be great. So.
yet
That
to
would
see
be
it
great.
happen, so everyone needs to step their game up.
Well, we'll have two people watching, so
Yeah,
I'm sure there'll
absolutely.
be lots of hooting and hollering if that happens. And not only that, but that person then has to also buy a round, right? That's how that
I
works.
think
Of
so,
course.
absolutely.
But I'm sure they'll be okay if they win the car, so.
Plus, we got some putting contests
We do.
going on during
Yeah.
the day. You can win some wedges, and but I
Yes.
think the silent auction items are always a highlight,
Absolutely.
which works out really well. And
Excellent.
it'll be neat. We've got something special this year for the first responders. We're going to do a raffle for the raising of the flag by the firefighters at Ground Zero after 9/11. So we're going to do a raffle, which hopefully will raise quite a bit of money for the first responders and their charities, which will be great.
Sure, great. So how do people get involved? How do you sign up for a foursome?
Yeah, you go on the chamber website. Yeah, there's a link right there to it.
HaverhillChamber.com.
HaverhillChamber.com. Through the chamber Facebook page, there's also a link there. Many of us on our own personal pages share it as well. Contact you guys in the office,
And Melissa's really doing
Melissa's
a lot
great,
of it,
yeah.
so Melissa CV is probably the best contact person.
Sure.
But I'm sure you'd love those phone calls too, Bev. so,
Sure, yes,
Absolutely.
we do. We love the golf tournament. It's always a fun day, and I
Yeah.
hope it's a great sunny day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we can always use volunteers, so if
True.
you don't play
Yeah.
golf, or if you've got some, something that we can put in the silent auctions, or, hopefully if you can play some golf, that would be great. It's always a fun day. We
Yep.
tee off at 12:30. Lunch usually starts at 11. The range is open, so if you want to hit some balls first. And like I said, it's always a fun time, so.
Excellent. Well, if you'd like to sign up for a foursome or just as a single, you can give us a call at the chamber, 978-373-5663, or go to our website at www.haverhillchamber.com. When we come back, we'll be talking with Jason Petrou of CEO Beverage to find out about his new startup company, and I can't wait to hear all about it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. So we're excited to welcome Jason Petrou of CEO Beverage here with us today. Talk a little bit about how he started his new company and all the exciting things that have been happening. So welcome. Glad you could make it today.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure
You're
to be
welcome.
here.
So tell me a little bit about CEO. What is CEO?
Sure. CEO, which stands for Clean Energy Organics, is a line of low-calorie organic energy drinks. There's only 30 calories and 5 grams of sugar in the entire bottle. It's USDA organic certified and has about a small cup of coffee's equivalent of natural caffeine. So.
Excellent, excellent. And what made you start a beverage company? That seems like such an undertaking.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't come from the beverage industry, so honestly, I wanted something that I felt comfortable drinking every day. I lead a pretty healthy, active lifestyle, and I like the idea of functional beverages, but just didn't really love the options out there, like the Red Bulls of the world or sugary sports drinks. So I honestly just made a checklist of what I would want to drink. And I like the idea of low calorie, low sugar, a little bit of caffeine, and just started to go from there and just got the wheels turning. So.
Excellent. So how did you do it? Did you have some help along the way, or?
Oh, sure. So just to get started, I did some good old-fashioned Googling,
Yep.
literally just how to start a beverage company. Because like I said, I don't come from that industry, so it was quite foreign to me. But just a lot of reading and reaching out to people that have done it before. I reached out to some CEOs of some large companies, not thinking I would ever get a response back, and sure enough, they were more than happy to help out. So,
Wow, that's pretty great.
Doing a lot of that for a good solid year before we even thought about putting money into it. So, there was a lot of that going on, and along the way, I've gotten some help from some really solid people, from package designers and just industry vets that have been very helpful to me. So.
Awesome. What are some of the biggest challenges to starting up a company like this?
Sure, there's a ton. There's so many pieces that go into producing a finished product here, between your label, the design, what bottle to use, the formula. So there's a ton of moving pieces, especially in the early going. raising enough capital. Really, that's was probably the biggest challenge. Especially, a lot of startups have that problem because you put as much money as you can of your own, but unfortunately, beverage is a pretty expensive game to get into. So we did have to bring in some outside money, and to do that before you even have a real product is quite challenging.
Right, right.
But just keep grinding, and that's what we did to make it happen. So
Sure. What's the most rewarding part of doing something like this, other than you get to create an awesome Haverhill-based business?
that's a big part of it. We just did production on these 4 new flavors that you see here. We've got the watermelon lime mint, the coconut pineapple, the lavender lemonade, and the passion fruit orange guava. That happened a little less than 2 months ago. And actually seeing that being produced was unbelievable because there's so much hard work that goes into it. But really, honestly, the most rewarding thing is coming to a lot of local establishments and just seeing it on the shelf. That's really cool. So
Yeah, it was fun to be part of the process. I know you did a lot of surveying.
Oh yeah,
On
we
social
did.
media
Yeah.
and asking people
Sure.
what they liked, and I think that's a great way to approach any kind of thing like this. I mean,
Yeah,
you need
that
to
was
produce
it.
what the public wants.
Well, yeah, we put together a framework with some different options. I spent a lot of years bartending, so I've got a pretty good idea of what flavor combinations work well together.
Right.
So really just
Good
came
experience.
up, yeah. So really just came up with a list of things that I thought I might enjoy, and what my wife and other people that we associate with would enjoy, and then just polled some people, and now we've got some awesome new flavors.
Excellent. Well, I can't wait to try them. I've had one of them so
They're
far,
delicious,
that
yeah.
one. And it was great, and I think we have to have that mixology class
Absolutely.
too, soon. We have to do that. So when you're starting up with a company
Sure.
like this, I'm sure you're studying a lot
Of course.
successful business people. Who do you admire? Who gives you inspiration?
Well, so directly in the beverage business, I look at companies like Honest Tea or Vita Coco, the coconut water companies that got started by people literally just selling cases of product out of their car, like much the way I got started.
Yeah.
Now they're, literally close to $1 billion businesses, and that was 5, 6, 7 years ago they got started. So that's a good inspiration for me.
Sure.
Locally, there's a lot of great companies that are involved in the chamber that give so much back to the community. Like Trinity or Pentucket Bank or things like that really they believe in what they're doing. So
Sure.
that's a good inspiration. So
It's a-
hopefully I get to the point where I can do that and give back as much as possible. So
Yeah. Well, it's going to be fun for us watching you grow, because I'm
Thank you.
sure you're going to do well.
thank you. Thank you.
And you're right, Haverhill does have a great little ecosystem for business.
Yeah,
Really
it really does.
perfect place to incubate.
Yeah, there's so many good startup companies around here that I think Haverhill is a fantastic hub for growing business. So
Yeah.
I'm proud to be here and have it right on my bottle. So
Excellent.
it's great.
So for anybody who's interested in you or your company
Sure.
or your products, if you could let them know where they can find
Yeah.
out more information.
Sure, you can check out drinkceo.com or at drinkceo on social media. We are always updating and providing a bunch of new information.
Yep. And
So-
you'll also be at the Healthy Living Expo
I will.
coming
yeah.
up on
Yeah, the
August 26th.
26th, yeah,
so-
we will be there giving out some samples. So stop by, and we're happy to keep you guys hydrated. So.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to that. So
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out
Appreciate
today.
it.
And thank you for joining us for another episode of Your Chamber at Work. For more information, go to our website, haverhillchamber.com.